and I'm recording this for your review if you need it. And I learned that if I upload to YouTube, I have to describe that this is fictitious data. Otherwise, I get accused of bullying for displaying addresses. So if you're doing a demonstration of addresses, you have to tell AI this is fake data. I actually appealed the you're getting banned, or not getting banned, your videos be getting canceled because it looks like bullying. I appealed it, said, wait, this is just fake data from a textbook. No, it wouldn't listen to me. But I looked for advice. It said, oh, put it in the description and maybe AI will say, oh, I understand that's fake data for class. And so far I haven't got the message from YouTube like my video has been banned. So you can still see Project 2 Part 1 not being blocked. But we'll see. It takes a few days. Sometimes AI comes back in a day or two. But today we're finishing up Access Part 2 with this. So far we have done some queries using parameters, using criteria, compound criteria. We'll do a little review of that. Sorting the data, ascending or descending. Here's something special, joining tables. Right now, so far we've only looked at queries from one table. We can get information from two tables, and we call it joining because we're connecting the two tables based on their relationship. And what we've done before, we can create reports. We can create a report from a query. And it shows you that you can export data to another database. We're going to do a calculation. I'm going to skip the crosstab queries because I think we got complex enough, but crosstab queries are a cool thing you can do as well. But we're not going to worry about that. Let's get started by going to AC Project 2 and continuing with that. I have my AC Project 2, the veterinary clinics. I saved you some time by importing veterinary vendors for you for your starting AC2 project, and then we can continue building queries because we want to just focus on building queries, not filling tables. We've done that in part 1. So I can see here that we made it all the way to page 21, and we'll continue through that textbook. And let me bring up my textbook here. Where did it go? Where's my textbook? Here it is. Okay, so back to AC-22-21. We finished a query that, let's just look at that AC2-21. Right click, design view, and I see this query was based on the appointments table. We had compound criteria. We were looking for a veterinarian with B01 and a date of the appointment greater than June 30th. That means came after. On the same line in the criteria means both have to be true. We call that an AND criteria. And if I run it, I see that I only see the appointment after June 30th for veterinarian B01. Suppose I want to see the appointments after June 30th for any veterinarian or all appointments for veterinarian B01. Well, removing B01 means all appointments after June 30th. But suppose there's an appointment before June 30th for veterinarian B01. I can put B01 on the next line, and that will mean or any appointment for veterinarian B01. I view the data, and I see all of B01's appointments, whether or not it was after June 30th, and any other appointments that came after June 30th. So this is the OR criteria. By just putting it on a different line, it makes it an OR. And notice the B doesn't have to be capitalized. So this is the OR criteria. And I want to save this as a new query. Just by putting it on a different line, it makes it an OR. So let's do a file, save as, save object as, save as, and now let's call it AC2 dash, I think it's on page 22 now. I guess that's still on page 20. Actually, the or is on page 22. Or no, it's not on page 22. Let's give it a different number. 22, AC 2-22, or criteria. Example. So look at what we're doing. On a different line means this line, any appointment after June 30th, or any appointment with that as the veterinarian ID. Either of those can be true, and so I'll get more information displayed. And remember, the whole reason for the design grid is so you don't have to learn the SQL language that gets a little more complicated as we go. You have this where, what I call the where clause. That is your criteria. If you look at that SQL and you find that, hey, that's not that complicated, I could do that, well, you can do well just learning this SQL database programming. If you find that's easy, that may be something that you may be interested in and going further, because there's big money and big careers in just knowing how to interface with databases with that language. Knowing the graphical part means you can use Access that's tried to make it user-friendly, but it's composing this for you. When it actually runs, this is what it does based on your design grid. Okay, so we've saved that one. We've saved it as the OR criteria, and I can close it and continue on with my education in queries, learning about databases, because they are just used everywhere on the internet, everywhere in the world. We might as well make you somewhat familiar with how to interact with them. Now we're going to sort data. I'm skipping the part in the book where they import, because I did that for you. We want to create a query that is sorted, and it's a simple query based on our treatment cost table. So let's choose Create, Query Design, choose our treatment cost table over here, Add Table, Treatment Costs, and now we're going to just show two columns in this query, just the treatment and the cost. Treatment and the cost. And before doing anything, I can run and see the data, all the lines coming out of my table, skipping the other columns. Don't need to see the treatment number or what animal type it is. But I do want to sort things, and I can sort by cost by going Sort Ascending. And now I click View, and I see my cost sorted by the treatment. If I decided to sort by treatment and then cost, guess what gets the priority? The treatment name gets the priority. It sorts alphabetically by treatment, and if it's the same treatment and different costs, it will be sorted by cost secondary. So remember, when I'm sorting, the leftmost column determines what gets sorted first. If I don't care to sort by treatment and only by cost, I choose that back to be not sorted. And then it's sorted by cost. Okay? And I think this is a simple query. I think they actually still want us to save this. Yeah, they still want us to save this very simple query. So they went back to like a really simple query, 2 columns, and we'll save this as AC-24. AC-24, treatment cost, sorted by cost. Now the only reason they made this a very simple query is they're going to do something complicated with it now. We only care to see just the costs. Well, how do I do that? Well, I want to delete the treatment field by clicking in the gray above it till the whole column selected, and I hit the delete key. It will delete that column. And now when I view my query, I see just the cost fields, but now I'm seeing costs listed, the same cost listed multiple times. And we don't want that. We only want to see the cost listed once. Well, and they show you this thing that they can do with that. I can turn on my property sheet now. Turn on the property sheet. And if I click in the gray desktop, I see the properties of my entire query, and there's one little field in there they show me that I can mess with, the unique values. I can turn unique values to be yes. Change that to a yes. Don't worry about knowing all about those other fields. That's just a little peek at all the properties that I can mess with. I'm only going to change the unique value field to yes. And now when I view my query, I see the costs not listed multiple times. Say someone wants a list of all the costs and they don't want to see $20 listed multiple times. They just want to know what are the costs for our various treatments. This is where that property unique values may come in handy. So giving you an idea that that property sheet, you can do a lot of fancy things with it. All you need to worry about is the unique values. You're welcome to view those other ones, and the return all is basically changing what top values are. But right now we're seeing our treatment costs, unique costs, and they want us to save this one. I think they want us to save this one. Yeah, we're going to save this one as AC2-26. So I'm going to do file save as, save object as, save as, AC2-26, treatment cost, unique. Maybe I'll put unique property just so I remember where I got that, unique property. And that has to do right there, that property sheet. Now they don't show you that if I only want to see like the first 3 values or the first 5, I can go to return here and I can say just show me the first 5. And I can click view, and now I only see the first 5 of the treatment costs. The time this is useful is when I have a huge table and doing all the records takes a little bit of time to get all the information out. If I only want to care about the first 10 values in my search, that'll save me some time, especially if I have 1,000,000 records and I only want to see the first 10. It'll stop rather than get all 1,000,000 and then just show me the first page. All right, so that is the treatment cost unique property. A quick little extra thing they show you. And save my changes. And the next thing, we can sort on multiple keys, and we're going to look at our treatment cost again. Let's build that again just for practice. Create, query design, the treatment cost table, the treatment number, the treatment, animal type, and treatment, animal type, and costs. And I got treatment in the wrong place. I'm going to click and drag that to the left. Treatment number, treatment, animal type, and cost. And now we can sort by animal type first, ascending, and treatment cost ascending. Double click will toggle through the values. And remember, it's sorted left to right, so we'll sort by animal type first and then by cost. Let's see if that works. Yep, animal type, canine to feline, alphabetical, and then within canine it's sorted ascending within that group. So the point here is the sorting goes left to right. If you want to sort by cost first, you have to drag it to the left side. This is what it gets sorted by first when you're doing the sorting. And you'll see that the sequel view, it starts to get even more complex, having to do with sorting with this order by. But we don't care about that. We're going to use the design view for a user-friendly view of query design. And we're saving that one as AC2-27. We're making good progress here. Control S, AC2-27. We call this sorting on multiple fields. So what we have created here is a query on the treatment cost table, all the columns with sorting of by animal type, then by cost. Sorting, or a query on the treatment cost table, sorting by animal type, then by cost. That would be the description you might be given in a assignment, perhaps in a final. Create a database with some tables. Show me a query on a particular table, sorting by 2 column names. All right, next query, we are going to build a top values query. Well, I could start a new one or modify the one I just built. I think I'm going to modify the one I just built this time. This time I'm going to copy, make a Control-C copy, and Control-V paste, and I'm going to call this AC-2-24, sorry, 2-25, sorted by cost, top values. I forgot to put the 2 the last time there, AC2. So this is a nice way, if you know you're going to modify a query, make a copy of it first and then edit it, then you don't accidentally do a save as over your original. So I'm now going to the one I just made a copy of, AC2-25, and we're going to modify that by changing the return to be 5. This is what we call a top values query. And the return property or query setup, top 5. Now I click view and I just see the top 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I was expecting only 5, but it's close. And that was right there. Just for fun, let's look at the SQL view, and I should see there's the little top 5 part of it. Select top 5 and then the query. But in the design view, there's where I can decide how much to view. And I believe now if I go to the property sheet, also there top values shows 5. So I could have edited top values as well. That's what determines, just show me the first 5. Oh, and just for fun here, if I go to property sheet, maybe if I change that to a 4, let's see what happens. I still get the top 6. Interesting. It shows 4 there, but it's still showing 6 there. I wonder if it's because it has the same value. I don't know. That's interesting to me. Let's try top 2, just for fun here. There, I do get 2 on that one. So it's like the top values doesn't always quite work. Anyway, we know how to make a top values query now. All right, let's continue on then for a query. This is where it gets a big step in complexity. We want to see, let me show you the 2 tables we want to see here. We want to see information from these 2 tables. We want to see the appointment date and then what treatments are on that date. Well, I have the appointment date here. In this table, in the appointments table, all I know is the treatment number. If I want to know, well, what is the shot for that appointment, I have to get that information from the treatment cost table. That treatment number, say T4, is the dog rabies shot. If I want to see that in my query, I have to build a query that gets information from 2 tables. And we call that a join query. And here's how we make a join query. I start a query, create design, and I want the tables, I want the information from the appointments table and the treatment cost table. And I don't need to see the property sheet. And I can adjust the locations on my tables in the query. Now you should see a line between treatment number to treatment number in the treatment cost table. Appointments treatment number to treatment number in the treatment cost. This is a very important line. What this tells Access is list an appointment, and when you get to the treatment number, if you need any information about the treatment number, like the name of the treatment or the animal type, That's in the treatment cost table with the matching, with the related, the joined treatment number. So every record of the appointments table, if it has a treatment number and you want the treatment information, just find the one that has that matching treatment number. Okay, now let's see if we can actually get our query to show that. I show both tables, and now just like I did before, once they're shown there, I simply click on the fields that I want to be displayed, which are the appointment date, and then the treatment the treatment in the treatment cost table, the animal type, and the cost. And whenever you look for treatment, it's only the treatment that matches the treatment number for that particular appointment. The left side is the appointments, the right side is the treatment cost. They are related by treatment number. And now we're going to do some sorting. Yes, we're going to sort a point chronologically first, sort ascending on date, and then within that date, sort by the most inexpensive cost first. And now let's view the results. There we have our appointments in order, and the same day, these two that are on the same day, they are listed by the cheapest cost first, lowest cost first. That is a join query, meaning I'm getting data from two tables related by treatment number. Now just for fun, you don't have to do this. Suppose I didn't have that line there. I can delete that line, and watch what I'll get. I'll get for every appointment, list all my treatment costs, and I'll get a crazy result. 70 results, the same appointment, lists every possible appointment on that date because it's not properly related. So basically it says, okay, for that date, I'll show you all the appointments. And now for that date, I'll show you all the appointments that are possible. And for this date, I'll show you all the appointments that are possible. That's not what I wanted. I only want to see the treatment cost only for the treatment that's that specific appointment specified. So that line is very important. And let's go ahead and save this as AC2-31. We'll call it appointments joined with treatment costs. And this is where most queries are used, because it's usually, if I'm only worried about information from one table, I could always just search that one table or just open the table and I see all the appointments. Once I start getting more complex, which most databases are complex, like users in the system and what classes they have and what assignments they have, which is popularly has a database in it, that becomes more important. When you go to your popularly page, it's only listed information for you from multiple tables. The classes table, the schedule table, the grades table. When popularly brings up your page, it lists only your stuff because it's joining the information for you over multiple tables. Now, it may not be an Access database because Access is like the junior database to all the very powerful ones out there, but it gives you an idea what Access gives you an idea what these databases are like. So now we have the joining of these two tables. And notice it only shows me the treatment costs when there's an appointment for that treatment. We want to show all the appointment or all the possible treatments even if there's not an appointment for that treatment. Sometimes there's a need for that kind of query. All the treatments even though there may not be an appointment for that treatment. And that's where we can click on that line and then double click on the line, and we can choose what we call a right join. There's a left and right join. If we click on number 3 there, it explains, show me all the treatment cost records and appointments that are scheduled for some of those treatments. I click that, and watch what I get with that. Before saving it, I see all treatments, whether or not there was an appointment for it. Most of the time, we want what we call a normal join. But sometimes you want to see, hey, show me all the treatments, even if there's not an appointment for it. This is a right join. Most of the time, we worry about the normal join. That's why we did that one first. This one, we will save this one as, it's the same thing, but it's a right join. So I'm going to do a file save as, save object as, and save as, and call this a right join. Put the word right in front of it, right join. That's as complicated as you get in joins. If you're doing anything more advanced, left and right joins is an important concept that database people use. And let's see, let's if I get the right page number on that. The right join is on page, a few pages ahead. The right joinment is on page AC2-33. So I'll change the 31 to 33. Just to show you there are details in the join, and that line is very important. See, it shows a little arrow there now, basically saying, I'm going to show you all my treatment costs, even if there's not a treatment associated with it. And I can always change that, double clicking on that line. I can change the join properties. And I think we're done with that. Now, I can close that query, and now think about reporting the information. I have all these wonderful queries I've been building. Suppose I want to see treatments, whether or not they have an appointment with them. I prefer this one. I'm going to show the easy way first, and then I'll go through the report wizard. The easy way is I want to report about that last query I just did, AC 2 oh, I named it wrong. I'm going to fix the name. It's supposed to be AC 2-33. AC 2-33. I want to report on that. Click on the query, click on create, and click on report. That's the easy 3-click query report. And it makes a beautiful report. Not quite as beautiful as I like. We're going to find a way to make it more beautiful. But that's the 3-click method, and I have a report, and I can close it, and it saves it with the same name, but makes it a report. And that's usually acceptable, that I have a report, the same name as my query, but it shows up as a report. It's okay to have the same name because they're different things. But now, suppose I want something slightly better. This time I'm going to go to create and use the query, the report wizard. It just does a little bit better at the design of my report. Let's try the report wizard. See how that does slightly better. I want to see all the information by just clicking the double arrow. I want to see the grouping by, let's see, are we grouping? Let's see if we're grouping by anything. I'm not sure we're grouping by anything. Let's see here. No, we're not grouping by anything. But you could group by animal type if you wanted. We're not grouping by any, we're not doing any sorting. But we are making sure that the layout is tabular and portrait. And this is the pretty part. It actually does some adjusting of the fields so they fit nicely on a page. And we'll compare now what it gave us. I'm gonna go with the same name. It'll just add a number at the very end, so it doesn't overwrite my existing one with a similar name. And I can click finish. So I get this report fitting nicely on the page. Actually cuts off the letter there, so it's not perfect. But there's the report generated by the wizard. And let's look at the report generated by the, there's a report generated by the wizard. I went to print view. Let's look at the report that I did with the 3-click method. Oh, not that one. That's not the report. That's the query. The 3-click method report down here. There's the 3-click method version. There's the wizard version. Wizard version gives you a little prettier arrangement of things. Appointment date does get cut off when I use the wizard, though. That's interesting. The appointment date does get cut off a little bit, but it does stretch it across and doesn't put the goofy rectangle around everything. Adds a little visual noise. So the 3-click method is fine. The wizard method comes out just slightly different with a little bit of better arrangement of things, and I think a little prettier with the alternating colors. But the wizard is fine. Most of the time, though, here in this class, if you want to generate a report, usually you'll be given a statement like this. Give me a report on the, give me a report on the appointments after June 30th. So some name of a query or the name of a table. I click that query or table and click Create Report. And it gives me a decent looking report. If I want a better looking, go through the wizard, but you don't have to. Most of the time, the 3-click method is just fine. And in the advanced courses, we learn how to actually design our reports, and we can manually make them look better. You don't have to worry about that in this class. You're welcome to play with that, though. All right, let's go on. We have some other things to work on. We can create every form. That's right. The next thing we want to do is create a form from a query. The treatments and appointments that we just looked at. Let's look at the right join treatments and appointments. I can go to create and create a form just using not even the form wizard, just a one-click form. And remember what a form gives us. It gives us a way of traversing or navigating through one record at a time. All those lines that didn't have an appointment date because I did a right join. Here's I'll eventually be coming to the line that actually had an appointment associated with that treatment. Remember what the forms are. They're just a user-friendly way of navigating through the results of a query or navigating through the contents of a table. And even better, you give this to your data entry person that is only allowed to edit one thing. You can modify it so only one of them is changeable by the person you've hired to do data entry. And if I want to save that, I can click yes, and I have forms show up. Same name as the query that they were built on. That's usually handy to give them the same name so you know what it's for. Let's do that again just for the other one. Without the join, click on the query, create, form. And now this one only has the 5 that do have an existing appointment. And I can navigate through those one at a time. And if this were a better table, I could have an image of the patient, and as I'm navigating through the form, the image would actually pop up. That's the nice thing about a form. When I view the table, all I would see would be the name of the file, whereas the form actually would, if it had an image, it would actually show the image, which is kind of nice. Maybe I'll add that to a next future version. We have the picture of the patient that shows up on the form. And I can save that, gives it the same name of the form as the table or query that it came from. Now in the textbook, they describe how you can export the data from these tables. In the external data tab, if I wanted anything from a table or report to go into like Excel format, I could just say, oh, I want to export all my veterinarian vendors. I want to send it to someone as an Excel file. I can just click Export Excel. I can choose what type of Excel format. I can choose with or without formatting, and then save it to an Excel workbook. At this point, because I had that veterinary vendors table selected, it's going to give it the same Excel name as the table that I had selected when I said export. And since I don't care to use that, I'm going to cancel. But I can export data from multiple, I think I can select multiple things and export them. Oh, look at that. It won't export. It only lets me export one thing at a time. Another thing I can do if I have a list of people I want to mail merge in Word and learn about mail merge, I can send it to Word as a mail merge information. And then I can learn how to use mail merge. I can send to another Access database for just that specific table goes into that database. So lots of fun things I can do to store it or send it to someone else to work with. I'm not going to have you do that because we're just worried about this Access database. Now, in that join query, we want to add criteria to that. So let's go back to our join query, our right join query, that last one we did. Oh, not the form, the query itself right there. The right join query. Let's right click Design View. And let's add a criteria to that. Before adding criteria, I always like running it to see what I have as my results. Okay, I have all that. Okay, so I see my results. Let's go back now and criteria. Let's look for criteria. In the book they say, let's look for any treatments that are greater than $10. Greater than 10. Since it's a number, if I click off of that, there are no quotes added. And I can click View, and I see the two $10 treatment costs are no longer listed because I'm only viewing some that have a criteria greater than 10. Suppose I want the criteria to be greater than 10 and less than 40. Well, I can add that. I don't put it on another line. I type the word and then less than 40. That's how I would do criteria of between 10 and 40, not including. Now I will see only those less than 10, greater than 10 and less than 40. So remember, if you're doing an and criteria on the same field, I have to type the word and. But if I only want greater than 10, I just delete the and that's what they did in the book, and we'll save this as AC2-42. I'm going to do a save as because it's a different query, not a save. Save as, save object as, save as, AC2-42. And right joined cost greater than 10. And let's see if it allows the greater than symbol in the file name or the query name. Yes, it's happy to put the greater than in the query name, and my query names are getting very long over here. So manipulating fairly simple queries, remember they can get way more complicated, and now we're getting just a little bit more complicated. We're going to edit this one. I want to see all of them, so I'm removing that criteria. I'm stretching out this blank field on the far right, and I'm going to type something special right here. If I type total costs, colon, that means this name of this column is going to have the name total cost in it. Colon means, okay, now this is what's going to be calculated here. Left square bracket. Uh-oh. I need quantity. I don't have quantity here. I need a different query. Sorry. Close this. We have to create a new query because I need cost times quantity, and that comes from a different table. Closing that, not saving the changes I started. I want to build a query on the Veterinaria vendors table. And here's the kind of question you'll be given, a problem you'll be given on the final. You'll be given something like this. Create a query for the veterinary vendors table. Okay, so that's the table I'm creating a query on. And here are the fields that I want to display from that table. Okay, so you'll be given the name of a table and the fields that I need to see in my query. All right, so let's build that. Veterinary vendors table, okay, create, query design, add the veterinary vendors table. The fields that you'll be given are the vendor name, their state, their veterinary supply. Here's where we have quantity and cost. Now, this is where I want to do the calculated fields. The name of the field is going to be total cost here, colon. That's going to be the name of that column. What's going to go here is a calculation. Left square bracket, quantity. Better be spelled exactly right. If I spell it wrong, it's going to be saying, what did you want me to put there? You spell it exactly the same, and that's asterisk between, square bracket, cost. And let's see, I don't think it matters whether the cost is capitalized. Checking my spelling. I do want that check mark to be displayed. Let's see what I get now. I should be getting quantity times cost. And I click the query, and lo and behold, it is calculating total costs for me. Quantity times cost, 50 times 4, yep. 150 times 8.75, oh yes, I know, exactly, 1,312. There is the calculation being done for me as the query runs. So rather than saving total costs, and then as I delete my inventory while people make orders, I only recalculate cost at the point where I want to see what do I have left and how much do I have, what is the cost for tax purposes. I can click here and somehow I can see the, oh I know, if I go back to design here and show or totals, I can turn on totals here, and I can actually have it show me the sum of my cost. By turning on totals, I can actually have total cost give me the sum of my totals for tax purposes. Oh, why isn't it showing my totals? What did I do wrong here? I wanted this show, so apparently group 5. Oh, maybe that isn't working right now. I thought I could show my sum of all my costs, but apparently it's not showing up. So never mind that part. We'll delete totals. Here I can view, and I don't think we're doing any sorting. Let me check the sorting on this. No, we're not doing any sorting. It shows me that extra column just by adding the total cost field. And I thought I could show you the summation, but I'm doing something wrong. They're showing me this. What did I do wrong? They're showing me in the book here. Oh, I guess if I only show the cost, then I can do the summation. Oh, I don't want to do that one. We'll skip that query. This will be our last query. We calculated that. If I don't want total cost listed there, I can change the caption of that. But I'm going to go ahead with total cost listed there. It is showing me that extra field there. Oh, that's if I want to enter more data. All right, so there is my query with calculated field. That's what we call a calculated field. Notice the format is the title to give it, followed by a colon, and then whatever calculation, in this case, the name of that column in square brackets times the name of that column in square brackets. Let's save that as AC2-40 something. AC2-47. AC2-47. We'll call this calculated field. Now in the book they show you a crosstab query. They're complicated enough. I'm not going to push you into crosstab queries. You're welcome to explore crosstab queries, but they don't make a whole lot of sense, especially starting out with our small tables that we have. But they allow you to compare one column to another column. But we'll skip crosstab queries. We are done now with AC Project 2. You've made a lot of queries. That is the power of databases. Organizing your data into related tables allows you then to search the information from those tables very quickly. Without them being in organized tables, related tables, it gets very messy and slow, and you can't search for things in an instant, get huge amounts of information. Related tables keep you from having redundant data, because that's a bad thing. We don't want to have to change the address for one of our patients in multiple places. It's only stored in one place. All right, save that. Close everything. Saving all your queries. It's always best to close Access before uploading it so Access doesn't accidentally have a lock on your file, or you accidentally upload the wrong file to Populi. That happens regularly. People upload the lock file instead of the actual database. So close Access, upload your file, and you are done for today. Welcome back.